Sam Logue here for Greenblood Boxing. Absolutely delighted to be joined by Tommy McCarthy. Tommy, obviously, unfortunately, you're on the bad end of a decision last week, but we're going to come to that. But first thing I want to ask you about is you're here to support your teammate Tyrone McKenna. He just had a brilliant win here at the Feile Festival. He's third from the top in terms of the slots on the card. Brilliant win against Jose Felix Jr. Just talk to me about the victory and the fight.
It's a massive victory for Tyrone. That guy, he's no dozer, as they say, and he fought for a world title, and Tyrone's won a major title, Intercontinental title, and he's put himself in a mix for a world shot. So I'm absolutely buzzing for him. Somebody said to me, I'm not like getting on if I made this up. Somebody said to me, "Oh, he's out Mexican, the Mexican," and he actually did. So I'm buzzing for him. Like I think he actually could have stopped him if he had sustained his attacks a bit more. But he done what he had to do, and it was a landslide victory, so I'm proud as punch.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's funny you say that about the sustaining the attacks. There definitely were times. I mean, Tyrone was hurt in the fight. I think it was the third round he got hurt with a body shot, got put down. But before that, he got a knockdown, and he subsequently got a knockdown again in the fourth round, I think it was, as well. But there definitely were times when it looked like if he had to put that pressure on, he could have had that victory, or he could have got that stoppage. A really good performance. How much of that do you put down to kind of Pete Taylor and the gym and the atmosphere and what they've been working on in camp?
Yeah, Tyrone has a great mentality. He's a very, very strong mental person in all aspects of life, especially in training. He puts it in 100% in the gym. And Pete comes up with the training sessions that give you the fitness and the conditioning to be able to fight at a hard pace for the distance. So, the two of them together is a match made in heaven, and you saw the results out in it. Like Tyrone didn't let up for 10 rounds. He took a body shot and went down. He still came back even stronger. So it's great. It's great for the team, and it's great for McKenna personally.
What do you see in Tyrone's immediate future now? I mean, where would you like to see him go? Do you have any opponents in mind that you'd like to see him fight? As someone who's particularly close to him, he's obviously got that WBO Intercontinental belt now, which puts him back into around at least the top 15 in the WBO at a super lightweight. So what do you think? What would you like to see from him?
I'd like to see him in a world title shot next.
Yeah.
I think he's ready for a level. He's been a pro for a long time. This title that he's just won will put him in the mix. So I'd like to see him, getting his opportunity. Yeah,
100%. Perhaps a vacant title if Josh Taylor. I just interviewed Tyrone. He said he had a discussion with Josh Taylor about vacating that belt so he can fight for it. But perhaps a vacant title. But look, amazing victory for Tyrone, your teammate. Comment quickly on the Feile Festival for me. What an atmosphere here tonight, especially for all the Belfast lads. I mean, amazing atmosphere.
Yeah, I came early doors to see the early fights. So my other friend Sean McComb was actually on before the TV started, and the rain was bucketing down, and I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna leave. I'm not sitting here all night getting soaked. But thank God the rain stopped. It dried up a wee bit. But the Feile, everybody knows. It's a special festival. It's the magic of West Belfast. We look forward to it every summer, and we missed it last summer, so it's just extra special this year to have it back.
Yeah. No, amazing. And my first Feile Festival, my first boxing show up here, and I have to say the atmosphere was just out of this world. It was absolutely outstanding. We're going to move on and speak about you. I mean, obviously we couldn't do an interview and not talk about the fight last week. I mean, commiserations. It was such a close fight, unfortunately, on the bad end of a decision against BILLAM-SMITH. Obviously losing the European title, and obviously for the British and Commonwealth titles. Talk to me through. I mean, you've had time to reflect now on the fight. What are you feeling about how the fight went?
It was just too close. I'm raising it myself for I learned to get so close. Like I feel like I could have stuck to my boxing and won well without any argument. But I allowed Chris to come in and fight his fight, and I fought Chris's fight and lured him back in the fight. So I'm just disappointed with that I actually done that, and but I'm not beating myself up over it. I'm just going to regroup and come back again stronger.
If we go into it just even slightly from a technical perspective, what was it that he was doing, or what was it that you maybe didn't do in the fight that you had planned to do?
I think, landing a big right hand in the first round kind of messed up my whole rhythm, because then I was looking for the right hand for the next lot of rounds, and I was holding my feet. And while I was looking for these big punches, BILLAM-SMITH was advancing and picking up points. And then once I got my boxing going again, it was like, it was the latter rounds, and it was just too close to call. So there's a lot of, getting a lot of love on social media from not just the Irish people, English people, and they're all, a lot of people saying, "Oh, you won that fight, you were robbed." But at the end of the day, it was my fault, so I have to take responsibility. And like I said, it's lessons learned, and I just want to get the rematch now.
Yeah. So the rematch is what you want directly. I think obviously as well, it was such a close fight. I think the rematch is definitely the fight for you. I mean, a couple of adjustments, and it's definitely a fight that's winnable for you. But an interesting thing that happened the fight week that I don't think a lot of people knew about was that the introduction of Carl Frampton into the corner, right? And obviously the dynamic there between the McGuigans and Carl into your camp. Do you think that perhaps affected you maybe more than it affected BILLAM-SMITH? Not that I think it did, but obviously it's an interesting dynamic. So how did that come about, that Carl came into the camp or came into the team for the fight, and do you think it maybe had an effect on you?
Nah, straight off them were European defence. Me and Carl spoke about him coming in, and it was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. It was great it was great crack to see Emmons, taking it so bad, but it was also brilliant for our team to have that added experience, and to have, Carl Frampton is Ireland's greatest male boxer. Yeah. So to have him part of the team was it was all positive. Yeah. So it was great, and he'll be back again.
Amazing. I mean, in terms of just in general having him in your camp, it definitely sounds like a very good addition to have. Did Carl actually say much between the rounds? Did he have a little bit of input? It looked like as the fight grew on, as it got a little bit more tense, Carl started to actually get a little bit more involved.
Yeah, he said to me before the fight, well, before, like when I initially asked him to come in, he says, "Do you want me just to be quiet, or do you want some jackal motivation?" And I says, "Jackal motivation, 100%." So yeah. He was very vocal in the corner, and he was very constructive. He didn't just say things for the sake of it.
Yeah. And I take it that has to go that has to be simultaneous with Pete as well. It has to kind of work with Pete, has to be okay with that, and everyone has to be on the same page. Was that right in saying that?
Pete was given the instructions, but Carl was coming in with just wee nuggets. Okay. You know what I mean? So it worked well. The two of them worked brilliant.
Excellent. So maybe a combination we could see in the future, especially as Carl is retired.
It's definitely going to happen again. Yeah, he's going to be back 100%.
That's class. So you're looking for the rematch. Is that's you won't accept any other kind of fight? Is there any other fights around that level that you would like, or is it BILLAM-SMITH or nothing?
The rematch is what I want, but I'll definitely accept if there's any other big fights out there. The only thing I'm not accepting is warm up fights and no rebuilding. Yeah. Unless there's no other option, but what I want is the rematch or back in a big title fight.
And what's Eddie Hearn saying about the rematch?
He says, yeah, we'll do it again. So he's interested in it. We want it, so the ball's in our court.
Yeah. And how likely do you think it is that BILLAM-SMITH will accept the rematch?
I don't know. I don't even want to put an estimate on it.
Yeah. What's your feeling?
I don't know. If I was him, honestly, I would want to move on. Yeah. Because you fought the fight. You're right there. But it depends how he feels, Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. Perhaps it
could depend on things like money and stuff like that. Whatever offer comes up on the table, which if we know Eddie Hearn, it could be a good offer on the table for both of you.
Yeah, that's it. It would have to be an offer you couldn't refuse. I don't know what he got, but as well paid for that fight. So if that was the standard, then for the rematch you'd be getting more. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I really couldn't say. I'm just hoping. I've got my fingers crossed. Yeah, well,
so do we, because that's a fight we want to see again. It was on a knife edge. To be fair, it was a close fight. It could have gone either way. Unfortunately, it didn't go your way on the night, but hopefully you get to secure the rematch, Tommy, and it'll go your way in the rematch. Look, thank you so much for talking to me. I appreciate it, man. Really appreciate your time every time. And
very much.
let's enjoy this main event between Mick Connell and TJ Donnelly.
Yeah. So thanks for having me again, and shout out everyone, all the viewers tonight. Yep.
Thank you, mate.